How's it going, folks? Magpie Leon here. In today's video, I'm just going to quickly show you what I ended up doing for my college project. Now, if you remember a while back, I did a video announcing that I'd be doing a Halo Infinite landscape. That really didn't go to plan. I did a couple of streams on it. I was supposed to be streaming for it regularly for my college work, but I realised I wasn't really making that much progression. Not as much as I should be anyway. I'd done a few streams, my materials just weren't advancing very well, and I'd be there for like an hour and I'd barely get anything done. So, within the last 2 weeks of my 10-week project, I decided to change my plan and instead made this. It's a Halo-inspired Smash Bros. Stage, something that I feel like you could potentially see if Chief was to ever get added to Smash. So in today's video, I'm just going to quickly sort of give a rundown on how I sort of made it, issues I have with it, and positives. So I guess I'll just quickly start with the fact that with it being the last 2 weeks, luckily, since I'd already made half the stuff for it, by that I mean the models for these little rings, the model for the bridge, the hexagon pillars, they were all done. I'd already got the texture, the material for these done. Now, one thing I will address now is the rocks and the bushes are start content, and so is the texture on these little rings. They are start content that is already pre-built into Unreal Engine. I didn't make those, but I did make the material for these, and I did make these models. Obviously not super advanced, they're nothing amazing, but I did make those, and I did do the ring in the background, which was actually a lot easier than I was expecting to be. It took me a little while to get it figured out, but it is literally just, I made a 2D plane in 3ds Max, basically slapped an image of the ring over it, which is actually just a PNG of Earth, sort of shaped like the ring, and then I just sort of cut around it, which you can see. There's bits of it where it definitely looks a bit choppy, but overall it's not too bad. And I mean, yeah, it cuts off there and there, but if you'd be standing there, you'd never see that anyway. So I think that's pretty cool. Now, the material, it definitely looks Forerunner. Obviously, I've looked at a lot of different Forerunner textures and stuff. It definitely looks Forerunner, but it doesn't quite look like the same material, the same texture that would be on the hexagon pillars in Infinite, which is what it's based off, obviously. It's a bit too rough. The ones in Infinite are very smooth. They do have detail on them, like there's lines there, which actually took me a while to actually get sorted, but these look a lot more rough than the ones in Infinite. I am proud of how the material looks. I did take quite some time messing around with different textures and stuff in Materialize, which is the software I used to make it before, well, to make the normal maps and stuff before I then put it into Unreal Engine. Obviously it's got roughness map and everything on it. It did take me some time to make, but in the end I am quite pleased with the result. And then the one on the bridge is actually just the same one, but I made an instance of it, and it's just sort of not stretched out, but it's not the same size, which is why it sort of looks a bit more symmetrical. This is based off the bridge that you walk across in the first level of Combat Evolved. Obviously, once again, it's not completely identical, but I got as close as I could within my ability. If I'd spent more time on it, then yeah, I probably could have done better. I'll be honest, I probably definitely could do better if I'd put more time into it. That's more so, I guess, down to my laziness, if anything. I mean, these were obviously really simple. I did make the stone texture for them, but it just didn't look right. The stone texture as well looked somewhat like smooth and plasticky, and then I sort of fixed that, except then it looked a bit too damp, and it just didn't suit these little rings. These are based off the ones that it shows right at the beginning of the Halo Infinite gameplay demo, and also the ones that we saw when Halo Infinite was revealed, the little stone rings. And I know they were a bit more brownish, but I felt like these blended in a bit more with the stones that the map is primarily made of. Obviously, it is a very simple stage. It's based off your sort of Omega format in Smash. And yes, before anyone mentions it, yes, the ledges would not work in Smash. I've already had this discussion with mates. It was just, I'll be honest, it was definitely rushed. I could have put more time into it, but I did only have a couple of weeks left, and I had a lot of other stuff to do with my college work, like writing and all that. My project is finished now, but overall, I'm quite proud of the outcome. If I'd decided to have done this at the beginning of a project rather than a landscape, then I do think it would have turned out a lot better. I definitely think I could have done better. The landscape was over there, but now it's gone. It's completely gone because it was just a blank canvas, essentially. There was no materials on it or anything. It just had a big chunk of the hexagon pillars, but even that, it was like I'd spent about 4 weeks on it, and all I'd done every week was add a couple more pillars. I wasn't really progressing, and then I had the ingenious idea of doing this instead. And honestly, I'm quite happy with how it looks. Obviously, I've asked for peer feedback from friends and stuff. We tend to play Smash quite a lot, and they've all said that it's definitely something they could see being in Smash. If there was a Halo stage in Smash, it could look somewhat like this, which would be really cool. I'd love to see Chief in Smash, but that's not the point. Anyway, let me know what you all think of it down in the comments. Give me any constructive criticism, I would really appreciate it. And let me know if you want to see me sort of, I guess, build a newer version where I put more effort into actually making it. The models I used 3ds Max to create, for anyone that's wondering. Once again, obviously they're not massively complex, so I doubt anyone was really that confused about it. And the materials, how I made them was I downloaded a forerunner texture and then used PixArt to mirror the texture so it looked a bit more symmetrical. And then I sort of just made some adjustments to it photo editing wise, and then stuck it into Materialize to make the normal map, which I then put into Unreal Engine to finish the material off. But that's about it. So yeah, comment down below, let me know what you think, let me know if you want to see me do anything like this in the future, and I'll catch you all in the next one.